Hi everyone, so today we're going to go over how to solve trig equations on the interval 0 to 2 pi. The reason we're doing this is so it doesn't get confusing because you can solve them to infinity, but we're not going to do that for right now. We're just going to focus on angles between 0 and 2 pi. Okay, so we're going to go over how to do a basic one. So if you look at this equation, which is 2 times cosine of x equals radical 3, you would do what you would normally do in an equation. You get cosine by itself, so you divide by 2. And so when you do this, you get cosine of x, which is the angle, equals radical 3 over 2. So now what you're going to do from here is you're going to find on the interval 0 to 2 pi what angles, the cosines of which angles give radical 3 over 2. So I'm going to show you how to do this. So you have to make sure the angles are between 0 and 2 pi. The angles themselves can be 0 or 2 pi, but for the most part that's not really going to happen. For the most part it's really going to be angles found between 0 or 2 pi, if that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, so you want to draw your unit circle first, and think of what cosine is. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, which hopefully you know adjacent is like the x-coordinate. And so the x-coordinate over the hypotenuse would be radical 3 over 2. Now, because radical 3 is positive, we can get rid of the negatives. So radical 3 is x-coordinate, so we're focusing on the right side with that. And then we're going to draw the hypotenuse, which is 2. Now, hopefully you know about special right triangles, so you know what the third side would be. I always like to draw the third side in so you can figure out what the angles will be. So, you're going to draw in, so I'm just going to move this over here. So you're going to draw in the hypotenuse and the third side, so the hypotenuse is 2, and then the third side, if you know the special right triangles, the third side is going to be 1, and it's going to be negative 1 on the bottom because the y-coordinate is negative. So then you're going to solve for the angles. Now, if you know these special right triangles, you'll know that the angle across from the 1 is always 30 degrees, or pi over 6. So you're going to write the reference angle for both triangles would be pi over 6. Now, pi over 6 itself is between 0 and 2 pi, so you can use that as one of the angles. That would be the top triangle. That would be the angle for the top triangle. However, for the bottom one, it could be negative pi over 6, but that's not in the interval we want. So we're going to go around and solve it on the interval 0 to 2 pi. So it would be like 2 pi minus pi over 6 to get the angle we want. So that's 12 pi over 6 minus pi over 6, and then you solve that, you get 11 pi over 6. And that would be the second angle that we need. So now we've solved everything we need, and that would be our answer. So what these angles are basically the cosine of these angles equal radical 3 over 2. Just solve for that based on the equation 2 times cosine of x equals radical 3. And so then we got, obviously, cosine of x equals radical 3 over 2. So this was just a simple explanation of how to solve trig equations. If you want a more in-depth explanation, please leave a comment. But otherwise, thanks for watching. I hope it helped.